In your opinion, is breath work useful as an adjunct to things like counselling?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, talk therapies have their place, but there are times when sometimes people need to connect more with themselves by doing a modality like breath work. It's a bit like any bodywork therapy too, where you have the opportunity to either be worked on or just work with your breath. And breathing consciously can, of course, take people into deep places and altered states of consciousness where we can actually move out of this physical dimension where it can take you into the realms that you didn't know were even there for you. So a lot of possibilities can occur and arise as a result of just breathing consciously. Yeah, it's a very profound way to connect with yourself, with your feelings, and with your body. So definitely useful.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I find that people will often come to breath work for various reasons. One of them can be like they need spiritual guidance. They need some sort of, they come along for, you know, they may have had a rough trot in life and they're looking for something beyond just using prayer or beyond using, you know, meditation. They want something sort of like a breakthrough experience. So breathwork can sometimes lead to insights for people who are looking for some sort of spiritual guidance. And of
course, it can also really shift the feeling or what's happening, that what they're experiencing emotionally. So it can really get them in touch more with their feeling life, but also move them through something that's been weighing them down or preventing them from moving forward in life. So, I mean, there's many aspects that can occur in a breathwork session, and we could speak of so many, but there can be certainly breakthrough experiences and healing. And I think that that's an important one, just to heal trauma that might be in the body or in the psyche.
So if you were like a psychology student, I mean, what sort of question would you want to ask me about a breathwork training? Like, what sort of things would you be looking for, do you think?
I think the nature of the training that we do, Phil, being a 10-day residential, is quite different to what most people would conceive of.
Yeah.
And the immersion that happens over a 10-day period where it's residential, you don't go home at night. You sleep there, you eat together, you're living in community with the other students. That in itself brings much richness and also a more powerful deepening with the understandings that we bring to it with the teachings, and also experientially. So people have the opportunity to be away from their normal life and immerse themselves.
The other thing I probably add there is that, you know, like often our difficulties in life, whether it's like anger or rage or whatever it is, they often, the little traumas that we have in childhood or the big ones that we have, they're often in relationship to another human being. So when we actually work together in groups, face to face, not online, we tend, I notice, and I, from my own experience, tend to notice a greater level of possibility of healing with other people in a group, rather than just doing it online or just doing it yourself or doing your own meditations. So I think that's definitely something that is the reason why, you know, that morphic resonance thing can happen in a group in terms of healing, where we work with another person in the group might represent something that triggers you, and then it might give you more. So more possibility to open up what's happening for you. So
and I think it's often forgotten or not known that trauma happens in relationship with others. So therefore healing can happen in relationship.
Yeah, sure. And I think that the good thing about working with people in a small group of, say, you know, 10 people is that for me, it's a small group, so you don't get lost in the crowd, and you've got two teachers with you. So we pay very close attention to what's happening for you in this group, and to guide you through things that might come up. Someone might say something that might trigger you, like, I don't know, there might be some slight disagreement about something in the group. but that might, reflect something that happened to you as a child when your mother admonished you or something, or whatever it is. And those things can be useful to help, to help explore what's going on. Because in the breath work, when you're doing 10 days, what happens is on the fourth day is usually that people's masks drop a bit more and people go a bit deeper. And that's that's when most of the gold starts being unearthed. And that's where we can get some real movement happening in the space of what's happening in my life that I want to move forward with. And, so those things can be, I'm stuck with depression, or I'm stuck with hating my father, or I'm stuck with my family not talking to me, or I'm stuck with a car accident that happened to me 3 years ago, or I can't cope with just day-to-day life because I'm not really motivated to do anything, or whatever it is. And so breath work is so, in some ways it's very broad. It's a very big group of therapies, but I suppose what Inspire Breath, what Suzanne and I bring to a breathwork training is we focus on your emotional journey. We focus on any sort of, any shadow material that might arise. We also focus on how to become a good breathwork practitioner. So we pay close attention to sort of training you how to recognize changes in people's breath patterns, how they respond to certain what would I call it? How they respond to certain ways of being instructed. So sometimes we might get resistance, or do you have a lot of resistance in this point of the breathwork session, or are you able to let go through? Do you have difficulty surrendering? All those sort of things. In terms of like my own journey, I would say that breathwork, the main healing aspect that I had in breathwork was that it really helped me deal with rage and suppressed anger. And so that really, breathwork really helped lift the lid on my persona as a nice person. And it doesn't mean I become a horrible person, but what it does is it allows me to sort of move up and forwards in life, where I'm not always pleasing people all the time. And I think you might have a similar sort of, in your healing journey with body work and the breath work, I've witnessed that in yourself as well. So do you have, if you had one piece of advice for someone considering our breathwork training, what would it be? Do you have any sort of tips or investigations that people might want to make about their own journey and how it relates to the breath?
I think for anyone considering doing a training like this, it has an element of being a calling.
Yeah.
There's some desire, there's some wanting to do a training that demands this type of commitment. And I think it is a calling to do this work. And not that you have to become a practitioner. You can come here and do this 10 days for your own personal development, which is a wonderful thing, because you're learning some skills, and you're also having breath sessions. So a lot will start to move through you as a result of that, and being within the group, and also learning the many things that we teach, whether it's birth trauma or the phenomena that can arise within a breath session. So I think for anyone considering doing this training, first thing, as I said, is it's a calling. But also, I think we provide a really good opportunity for people to talk to us about this training and their suitability. Obviously, this is not going to be everyone's ideal type of training.
It's a very intense journey. So
yeah, it is.
Like we take time to make sure that it is intense, but we're doing breathwork sessions every day for 10 days without fail, and we have a bit of fun on the way as well. But we also give you a bit of theory. It's not like books and volumes of readings that we give you or anything. It's more about teaching you as you go. We immerse you in the work, plus we give you a little bit of theory every day. And the idea is that it's experiential. This is not academic learning. This is not going to university. This is experiential learning through doing it. Basically, experiential learning means you do the breath work and you're guided by us, but we don't do the work for you. You're doing it yourself as well. So it's like this, we're the coaches, if you like. We don't have a particular agenda other than to make you good breath workers. So, and we want to see what's there for you. I mean, I had someone today tell me, who came to one of our retreats in Maria, she said, look, one of the most surprising things is what I didn't know how much I was sitting on. So some people feel like they're sitting on things, but other things aren't like that.
The other point I want to make, Phil, about our training is that we provide a lot of support for the students during these 10 days. There's a lot of support in terms of whatever you're going through. So your own well-being, your capacity to journey the experience of having many breath sessions, and also sitting for your colleagues. So it's not that you're just left on your own trying to figure things out when there's a lot happening.
Yeah, and sometimes it can become a little bit overwhelming sometimes if you've got a lot of material that you're processing, like I did when I was learning this work. And sometimes you just can't take it all in, and you just like, it's a bit overwhelming, because if you are sitting on a lot of material that's coming up, then, but you know, it becomes a little bit disorientating, but we're there for you to help get yourself orientated again. Like that's the point of what, you know, we're doing there, is to guide you through any patches where it gets pretty rough. And when sometimes, I mean, breath work is not about feeling good. This training is not about feeling good and feeling better and making everything happy. This is traveling into, you know, the difficult material that you have yourself as a person, as a human being, and being able to then become a better therapist, to be able to manage other people's difficulties when you're sitting for them as a practitioner.